Martin Shave Tests, and it's Sunday the 28th of June. What I do, an interesting, this time really interesting little shave, because I managed to get from a very kind gentleman on eBay this rather nice razor. I've just restored it, so it wasn't like this when I got it. It's only been here a couple of days. It's got the American eagle on it with the improved eagle razor etched on the blade, and the unusual, which I had to look up, logo on the tang, GARANTIDO. It would appear that it's a German-made razor. The large company in Germany that made it in the 1920s exported all over the world, especially to America, but often it was seen to Portugal and Spanish-speaking countries, hence why the GARANTIDO, guaranteed. So this is a very nice little razor actually. It had a little bit of damage, but not much. So I did another experiment. Wait for this. The other experiment being, I thought, okay, let's see, straight after the buff, if I can actually restore the edge on a LaLune. So here, ta-da, is a LaLune stone. And I thought, I love slates. Slates I think are really nice for honing purposes. So this is a little Pierre LaLune stone. It's a lovely purpley colour, and it gives off a lovely grey purple slurry. Anyway, I thought, yeah, I'll be a devil. I'm going to go for it. So what I did was, straight off the buff, I went to the LaLune, and then straight from the LaLune, I went to a canvas strop, and lo and behold, which is quite amazing, after the initial stropping on the canvas strop, it actually passed hanging hair test. Well, I wasn't totally convinced by that, so I have naturally used a nice hanging strop because this one didn't need a lot of work. Hopefully, for this little restored 5/8, it might just work properly. Isn't that a pretty little eagle? That's really, really quite a treasure. So it says, the improved eagle razor, GARANTIDO. Let's try with basically cold water. We've had a heat wave here. I didn't want my heating on. So cold water, let's go for the same as the last time, the Parasso. Let's see what happens. Anyway, apart from that, my odd experimental nature, I've never claimed to be expert on soaps or techniques. I don't even bother stretching the skin when I shave, but I do have quite a long history with steel, and I love the feel of a good piece of steel. So let's hope that intuition works and I'm right, and that this little 1920s, perhaps early 1930s, but no later, this little 1920s razor, which a very, very kind gentleman called Steve on eBay, as part of a deal that we were doing, chucked me in the post. And honestly, I'm very, very happy. Particularly happy as a lot of people wouldn't even have bothered to try to restore it. But I thought, no, it's coming at the right price, so to speak. So I'm going to restore it. Anyway, enough of my blathering. This is just a little test. This is not a definitive way to shave, but then I don't do definitives. However, what I do is jam my fingers on a towel. Because although this is a lovely little razor, it will and has no doubt in the past bitten. But this one is a very deep hollow grind. I was quite surprised. I don't think I can really show you on this very limited, stupid iPhone. But nevertheless, let's give it a go, see how it goes on a first pass. Adequate. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Actually, it's quite good. So this is a minimum effort restoration. And I've got to say, German steel from this period is very good. So it's 1920s, lead wedge, I assume rubber or Bakelite scales. And it's doing what it's meant to do. I'm never really very happy with 5/8. I do think it's a little bit on the small side for me. Also, stropping a 5/8 is tricky. You really have to hold the strop very, very taut, or you will round the edge, and then it's back to stage one again. However, awful light in here today, but that's normal for me. Yeah, I've got to say, I had a shave the other day with a proper Philharmonica double temple, a 14, easier to handle. And square nose, I like square nosed razors, but whatever. So this only took a few minutes to hone, and just the one stone. It was a one stone honing on a LaLune slate. I've got to say, for a little skinny 5/8 of this period, it's doing a very nice job. Yeah, this is going to go into the keeping drawer. I haven't got the proper box for it. I've got an old Sheffield card case, which doesn't suit it. The chances of getting the correct case are 1,000,000 to 1, so I'm not going to bother looking. Do you know, I'm not going to be a convert to 5/8, but I would say if you get one from this period in good condition, well, meaning restorable condition, it's actually doing a very fine job. I would say of all the razors I've tried recently, this is a real shock. I'm going to stop talking in a minute, I promise. But to find something of this period, with only a very small amount of edge damage and a little bit of corrosion on the blade, all of which I've taken out. And so now, although there was corrosion on the spine because it had been resting in a case for some time, luckily not along the edge. Anyway, I'll just, for the fun of it, give a quick second pass and call that a day. The weather here has been up and down like a fiddler's elbow. 1 minute it's blowing a gale, next minute it's roasting hot. Yeah, I wouldn't say the best edge I've ever made, but you can hear it's doing a job. Yeah, it's not bad. Just very slightly tuggy. It passed a hanging hair test in one direction with perfection, which was surprising. The other direction is always more difficult. You're going with the scales in one direction and into the scales of the piece of hair with the other direction. But it is a very profoundly useful test. Now I'm happy with this. This is a nice little German 1920s razor, made for export to South America or any of those Spanish speaking parts of the world. So there you have it. One German made GARANTIDO razor. A few little tips, especially with small razors. Only go into the stubble. Never, never, never be tempted to go that way. That's what we do with scalpels, and this is not meant to be a scalpel. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to do a barbecue this afternoon with a few friends at my house. And of course, although it's not going to rain, it's blowing a gale, which is what I expected. And in a couple of weeks' time, I'll do another and invite my slingers, who are always hungry. Anyway, what can I say? One restored German manufactured GARANTIDO razor, saved, and has turned out to be quite a nice little 5/8 razor. Round nose, beautifully etched, very, very clear. Very, very clear indeed, actually. The improved Eagle razor. So, there you have it. Anyway, that's all, guys. A bit longer than I intended. But it seems you can, if you've got a reasonably good edge, even off a buff, you can do a 1 stone hone. And this little slate LaLune, 10 minutes work. Hanging hair tested straight off a strop, and it's shaved quite well. So you don't always have to spend hours honing. I only spend minutes, but I'm lazy. Martin's Shave Test. I hope you enjoyed this little recap, and over and out.